good morning, everybody. How you doing here? Welcome to Chicago. Hopefully you saw my mug there at the beginning there. Hey, welcome to Lincoln Park. Here we are, 6:43 in the a.m. There's a little wind here at Clark and Fuller because of these taller buildings here. So we'll head over to Arlington. We'll check out some of the nice little Gaslight narrow streets. And then I don't know if it's worth it for me to head over to the lakefront or not. The sunrise is supposed to happen just after 7. I think Ernesto's streaming on TikTok. He just messaged me, so you can check out his live stream on TikTok. I'll be on YouTube here. Hey, Sabrina Suburban Garden there. Good morning, Jessica, Grandma's Corner, Tony. Thanks for tuning in there, James. So yeah, you know, this wind still feels as cold as it did yesterday. It's part of the reason why I'm sticking home today. There might be rain later today. Yeah, listen to this wind. Can you hear this wind coming behind me? I don't know if it's worth it to head to the lakefront or not. Maybe it is, because maybe I need to get away from the buildings. We'll give this a try. But I'm just heading to the grocery store. I'll probably just stick around Lincoln Park here. I don't think I'm going to go up to Mariano's. I think I'm going to go to a different place. But here's Clark Street. If you just joined, we're on Clark Street, Chicago, Illinois. We got 6:44 in the a.m. We got about 27 degrees. Maybe we might. We're forecast to get above freezing today, above into the low to mid 30s, and there might be some cold rain later today starting around 4 p.m. That's why I don't want to walk home in that cold rain. I'd rather walk home in snow. Cold rain on top of snow and refreezing overnight's not a good situation. So hey, here's the fire cakes truck. They're loading up the fire cakes. Clark and Arlington here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Yeah, they're loading up the fire cakes with all the donuts. We'll give the plug here to fire cakes. Yeah, they got the donuts right on there. Yeah, see, there it is. Get your fire cakes. They got all the, this is right at Arlington Street, right across from the Gaslight. There's the Galway Arms, Clark Street. We're a block north of Fullerton. You see, look how you can see the top of both the One Chicago Tower and the Trump Tower. Those are over 2 miles south of us. The Trump Tower is actually 3 miles south of us, and we can still see it there. Here's the fire cakes. Oh, the cute little van there. What type of van is this? Like, it's got the old license plate there. But here, this is Arlington Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Let's see if we, well, let's go up one more street. We'll go up one more street because they got better gas lights on Roslyn. Let's try Roslyn here. This guy's beautiful in Kentucky. Took out pictures. Hey, Christy. Yeah, so yeah, we'll head down Roslyn, and then I'll go right into the park. The sun's supposed to rise about 7:07 or something this morning, and there looks like we got the Michigan mountains on top of the Lake Michigan. So usually when it happens, the sun rises behind the clouds, and you don't get right at the lake horizon. But sometimes there's a gap in the clouds, and then the sun will rise in that gap, and then it'll go back behind the clouds. So I have no idea what the situation is unless we go all the way to the lake, and we might have to do that here. So here is this is Roslyn Street. We'll leave Clark Street, the Walgreens there. Used to be the Lincoln Park Market. We got some wind here, about 27 degrees. But let's check out the pretty snow here on Roslyn Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, Christy, Jen, Svonsky, James. Yeah, Grandma's Corner. Let's see who else here. Lambie T's tuning in there. Yeah, Flower. Yeah, it's really me, Charles. CJ's mom's got it going on there. Samuel, good morning. VI Vibes. India's tuning in. Hey, that's great. Look at this nice simple Christmas scene here. Yeah, Better Homes and Gardens here. We got the nice blinking trees here, the garland. There, that nice little courtyard over there, this little apartment building. This is Roslyn Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. We're in between Clark Street and Lakeview. And we're going to head into Lincoln Park. We'll go over to the lakefront. It looks like, yeah, there's clouds. So the odds of us seeing a sunrise, unless there's a gap in the clouds, we'll see. But hey, we'll show you these nice gas lights with the Christmas lights. It is a little slick on this sidewalk. So I missed your comment. I'm trying not to slip here. Thanks for tuning in here. Naya Papaya's tuning in there. Purple. Betty. Scott. Yeah. How you doing there, doggy? Good morning. How you doing? Hey. How you doing? Hey, look at this beautiful gas light here. Wow, look at the beautiful gas lights here. Roslyn Street. Yeah, out walking the dog. You got the nice... look at the undulation of the pattern of the windows. See this human scale pattern of language. Why do people find this such a pleasing street to walk down? All the buildings are three and a half stories tall. So you got a half-story garden apartment, 3 stories up. There's a rhythm, the 25-foot lot, and see that's a double one, but still you share a wall. Pattern of language here, you know, just the demarcation of the leaving the public space and slowly orienting the private. You can approach the porch and leave a package, knock on the door, and the front room, you know, and then the gas lights. And all this, you know, the new urbanists would discover this, you know, 100 years later, and all this was developed without zoning, without design guidelines, without coordination. The architects would just kind of stick to a pattern, and it worked. And yeah, kind of the modernists hated it because they felt like trapped in the neo-traditional vernacular. But you know what remains there was an interesting way to develop your blocks. So here, so we got wind, and it looks like there's a lot of clouds by the lake. We still head. It'll still be nice walking through this lake. I'll go with this. Go ahead. Thank you. I don't understand why cars. They see I got a camera, and then they're so like afraid to cross the street, like I'm going to sue them. You know. I usually let the cars go first because sometimes when you walk across, then the car starts, as soon as you go in the intersection, the car, you know, starts breathing down your neck. Go first. If you're a car, go. Get out of the way. You know, you can, I appreciate the politeness, you know. I appreciate it. Here we'll go to, the North Pond here. How's everybody doing here? Welcome to Chicago. Hey, let's go play in the snow here. Isn't it amazing how, you know, there's nothing like car pedestrian conflicts or bike pedestrian conflicts or vehicle bike conflicts to get your cortisol up. You know, no wonder we all got road rage. We got these, every day you're confronted with fight or flight responses. And then people wonder why people don't like ice. Because every day you're even whether, you know, even if the ICE isn't after you, you're not a U.S. citizen. It's just this idea that there's these people, you know, adversarial situations, and you're forced to like move on, don't look here, you know, let us do our business. And you're like, I don't want to let you do your business. You know, my cortisol's up. You know, it's a high stress situation. It's got to be a high stress situation for, you know, the officers, the police, the people being apprehended, being hunted. There's an interesting piece on, you know, you can fault me for watching Morning Joe on MSNBC. They call it MSNBC now. So yeah, I'm a horrible liberal. You can, if you're just watching Morning Joe there, I know. Yeah, so you sue me. But they found that, you know, how the current administration is going after Letitia James for the mortgage fraud. Of course, you know, the ProPublica, all they had to do was look into some of the same dealings in Mar-a-Lago, and they did some of the exact same deals. And it's not that, they're not saying that the current president did anything wrong. They're saying that what he's accusing Letitia James doing is nothing different than what the president does legally all the time. And it shows just a politically motivated attack, which we're used to that. You know, here, I'll go this street. I'll go this way. I'll let you have the path there. You got the whole path to yourself there. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in here. The dog's going to come get me here. So here we'll hey, you going to come attack me? Come attack me here. Go ahead. Here, it says, see here. So we'll walk around the snow here. Dogs do not like live streamers. They see me talking into I'm sure they're right. They consider me a crazy person. I'm just a rabid human talking into a phone, which is pretty much what I am. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here we're walking through Lincoln Park. I'll try to keep the political talk to a minimum because I know no one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear my opinions. My opinions don't matter. I'm sure your opinions matter much more than mine, so we'll defer to yours. But hey, look at the snow here. See, we're in Lincoln Park here, out playing in snow. Yeah, there's always conflicts. That's why a lot of people don't like cities. You're always, every day, it's a, you know, it's just like New York City. I'm walking here. I want a nice, peaceful walk in the park, and you got dogs barking at you and people looking at you angry, like, why'd you made my dog angry. Okay. Here's the North Pond. So yeah, we saw that they cleared off some of the ice for ice hockey, but see how they got aerators out there to keep oxygen in the pond, and there's areas of open water. But here's the North Pond, Lincoln Park, Chicago. We got 6:54 in the AM, and we got about 27 degrees here. Yeah, let's head over to the lakefront really quickly, just to say we walk to the lake. We'll at least get skyline views. At least we'll be able to see to the skyline, and then I'll just walk back into Lincoln Park and do some grocery shopping, and then go to work here. I'm working from home today. But hey, good morning. Good morning, America. How are you? Welcome to Chicago, Lincoln Park. We're playing in the snow here. Hey, look at that view. That's a unique view to the, hopefully I can zoom in here. There's the, yeah, see, I'm going to spin it around. Hey, that's me. How you doing there? Hey, Brian Really Chicago. How you doing? See, I want to zoom into the John Hancock there, and it flips around the screen because it's cold. Yeah, look at that nice view there. Yeah, it's beautiful, Betty. Purple. Yeah, how's everybody doing here? Valerie's tuning in there. Happiest holidays there, yeah. Phil, how you doing there? Yeah, happy holidays. Yeah, we've been checking out the Michigan Avenue lights, the Christmas lights on residential buildings. And what else has been going on? Yeah, we checked out that State and Lake station on the loop. They're going to it's going to be closed for over 3 years. I hope. Usually it's hard to maintain a schedule. If it takes longer, it wouldn't surprise me, but they're going to replace the State and Lake station on the loop. That's the one nearest the Chicago Theater. We just posted a video on it. Ernie saw, and I saw it yesterday, the Chick-fil-A's now reopened there on State and Lake. I think Ernie's got a video on it. And we saw it yesterday. You could see it in my rerun there yesterday. The full hour-long one at lunch. But that should be... I'll be happy once it's finished that you'll be able to have nice views of the Chicago Theater from the station, and it's to be like a glass dome that may have wider platforms. That station's 130 years old, and it's been updated a few times, but not enough. Someone told me that there used to be an escalator that went down in the 70s. Now, that was before my time. I don't know. I don't remember that, but I'll look into that. People say all kinds of things, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying that's interesting. I believe them. I want to believe them. It's good to see a lot of information that we learned from doing this, and people posting comments at all. That's value. So thanks for checking out the reruns. People post historical information that leads to other things that we discover, which is great. Yeah, Neva. Why do people make comments that just make me embarrassed to be a human being? No offense to you, Neva, there. Right? That just is a very depressing statement. Okay, so since you talked about that, I'm going to talk about this, and you can, hopefully, I'll get you to change the channel once I start talking about this, because you're not going to hear it. They're also talking about how in the 1920s, 1924, there was an act in Congress where it's very similar to what the current administration is talking about. They don't want immigrants from third world countries, people whose values are incompatible with American values. Which my question is the American values, the values of the Trump administration, or the American values of the whole American populace, which is different. Because not all the values of America are not the values of just one political party or subset or hijacked party that controls and dominates the conservatives. Because not all conservatives are MAGA, not all conservatives are Trump supporters. And so I don't want to defame good people that differ politically, but I respect their opinion, and I respect that. And so, but this nativist idea, and the idea behind the 1924 act in Congress to limit immigration from countries that deemed incompatible with American values, they explicitly put in that act they want to limit Catholic immigration in the United States from Southern Europe. Read Italians and people from Spain, and they wanted to limit Jewish immigration to the United States. This was explicitly in an act of Congress in 1924. Now, thankfully, America doesn't have the same values as it has in 1924. You can talk to the people that lived in the Jim Crow South in 1924. The KKK marched on Washington, D.C. in the 1920s openly, and now we are seeing videos currently of the KKK marching openly in broad daylight in Arkansas and Tennessee. People are seeing them recording programs. They said, we can't believe this is happening in Arkansas. I can believe it. It used to happen in Indiana. People talk about when I go to Effingham, Illinois, on the Amtrak going to Carbondale. Used to be a sundown city in Illinois, in the north, in the land of Lincoln. And there's you can look into Carbondale, Illinois. So anyway, but we're in Chicago, and we're here, gonna walk over to the lakefront here. The sun's probably about to rise, and we're just gonna kind of see what the morning looks like. It's kind of a gray, wintry morning here, December the 8th, 2025. But of course, the current administration is going to use the latest attack, which was horrible. The two National Guards people that were assaulted, one murdered, broad daylight in Washington, D.C. A guy from Afghanistan that traveled all the way across the country to do that. And yes, that guy was wrong for doing that, should be punished. It's the actions of one individual, not a whole group of people. A whole group of people are not responsible for the actions of one person. For example, I'm an American, you're American. We're not responsible for all the actions of this administration. That's on the heads of this administration. And we can resist and protest. And if President or if Mayor Johnson of Chicago makes a statement, that doesn't mean I made the statement. The Mayor Johnson made the statement. If President Trump makes a statement, doesn't mean I made the statement. President Trump. And if a Afghani American committed a horrible crime, that's his responsibility. You can't blame that on me. I didn't do it. They'll blame it on liberals. They'll say, oh, all liberals are responsible for this one person's actions. And I know there's a lesson for me. I shouldn't do this to people on the right as well. I shouldn't bait with a prawn brush. Everybody is their own person and is responsible for their own actions. But hey, thanks for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Lincoln Park here. We're going to head over to the lakefront, Lake Michigan, and catch the end of the sunrise behind the clouds here. We're at Cannon Drive, Cannon and Fullerton. We got about 7:02. I'm not heading downtown today. I'm going to stick around home because it's supposed to rain later this afternoon, and I don't want to get stuck downtown in the rain trying to walk home. I guess I could take transit, but I still have to walk 6 long blocks from the Fullerton stop. And imagine the rain on all this ice, how slick this bumpy, congealed ice will be when it's covered with a layer of water. as much risk as I take walking around the city in wintertime, I'm not even willing to do that. So here we'll cross Cannon Drive here, and we'll head to the Chicago lakefront here, Lake Michigan. This is where the Great Chicago Fire, this monument represents where the Great Chicago Fire finally burned out and went into the lake in 1871. Shows you how far it came from. This is O'Leary's barn, which was in the west, lower west side. Snow fight, yeah, we'll have a snow fight, we'll have a snowball fight. Yeah, we saw some people throwing some snowballs, making snowmen. There was a lot of people at the Lincoln Park Zoo last night. I think it was a free night, another Monday. We went to it last Monday. Is that right? No, it was 2 Mondays ago. 2 Mondays ago. Man, time flies. That seems like yesterday. 2 Mondays ago, and then last Tuesday we went when they had the pop-up upcycling vendors. Yeah, we're getting a lot of snow this year so far. We were getting much more snow so far this winter than we got in the past 3 winters combined. So at least, you know, besides the suburbs or lake effect in northwest Indiana. There, look at that nice view here. Here's, let me see if I can do this without, we'll probably spin the camera. Okay, there we go. So there's the, this is the crewing slip, the rowing slip south of Diversey Harbor. That's the John Hancock. That's a small portion of the Chicago skyline. And you're off to work there. Yeah, have a wonderful day there, James. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking it out, and have a great day at work there, and everybody else. Yeah, I'm heading to work later today too. I'm just gonna head to the grocery store by way of the Lake Michigan here. So DeSable Lakeshore Drive, traffic's moving fine. Looks like it. Here, we'll head across this exit ramp. I want a steel drum for Christmas on a tropical island beach. That song's in my head. We saw the Petoskey Steel Drum Band at the Michigan Lights Parade there a few weeks ago. That's it. And they're only, I would have used they were playing some great music, but it was all garbled in my rerun, so I didn't want to, it didn't make them sound as good as they really were. They really sounded really good, so I had to find a cover song there. We made it work. But here's the murals. This is because this is the exit you get off of the zoo and the Peggy Notabart Nature Museum, so they got these algae and microbes and plankton and whatever this is. Protozoa. Yeah. Wes is tuning in here. Phil, Grandma, One Golden Nubian. How you doing there? 2999. It's a glitch in the Matrix. It's a glitch. Welcome to the Matrix. Some people think this is all a simulation anyway. We all believe what we want to believe. Lakefront restaurant open year round. People, before I moved to Chicago, this was wide open. You used to be able to just go inside there because it wasn't a restaurant or anything. It was, you know, they fixed it up for the restaurant after it was 100 years ago. It was a tuberculosis museum here at Theater on the Lake. We're at Fullerton, Lake Michigan. There's the Chicago skyline there. We'll head straight up to the running pad. Hey, look at people jogging here. Seeing snow by the lake. Italy, how you doing there? Is that your toppings for the pizza? Yeah. Thanks for double tapping the screen there. Yeah, if you like this content, double tap the screen there. Here's this. There's a nice statue here, and it's almost haunting because I don't know if it's, you know, the people that died of tuberculosis and the children, the mothers and the families. I don't know. Here it is, 1922, rededicated 2015. Look at this statue. It's hard to see the skyline here, but I think it's just because of the morning light here. But hey, it looks like the sun just risen because it got a little brighter, but the sun's behind the clouds, so you can't Right, we'll show you the lake. We'll show you the subtle. Yeah, it's much. That looks like rain clouds to the north. I don't know if Michigan's gonna get rain today too, or snow on the Michigan side. Yeah, Javi, how you doing there? Selena. Yeah. So here's the combination of the bike path and the running path here by Fullerton in Chicago, Fullerton Parkway. We're about 3 miles north of the Central Business District of Chicago. That's the direction we're looking south. This is Lake Michigan. Somebody will say, dive in. They'll be like, jump in. See, look at the ice. Look at the ice on the railing. It would be hard to get up the railing because the ice would be so slippery. Here's the ladders. There's the ladders right there to get out of Lake Michigan. So look how icy, the icy edge to Lake Michigan there. There's the ice on the ladders. So there's no way I'm getting near that. I'll slip in the lake. I don't want to become a rescue mission. But here we'll walk down the towards the skyline here. There you see the icy edge. Remember I posted those videos from years past. I'm like, welcome to the icy beach, B-E-A-C-H. And somebody says, what'd you call me? I said, an icy beach, B-E-A-C-H. They said, what'd you call me? I said, an icy beach, B-E-A-C-H. Hey, look at the nice skyline here. The white sandy beaches of Chicago. Tropical. You want to plan your tropical vacation here? Yeah. So, hey, good morning, America. How are you? Citizens of the world. Now we got about 27 degrees. Chill feels colder. Get up to 35 today. My brain today turned into a big mess. It was pretty snow before it all gets messed up with the rain. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's awesome with the snow. The sunrise anyway. Look at the wind. The winds. Look at the wind coming off of this Pacific here. So I think I've had about enough because I'm amazed people are talking on this. We'll head back to the neighborhood here. I'm going to do some grocery shopping before I start work. It's generally around 8 o'clock here. So thanks for being in here so early. Thanks for checking out the Chicago skyline. The sun has risen, but it's behind those clouds. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So, hey, I'm glad I just caught this. Yeah, Missouri, thanks for tuning in there. So there's the sun. It's trying to burn through the cloud. So let's see if we can get the sun here. I got the screen sideways. The horizon's all sideways. Here we get a close-up of the horizon here. So that's your sunrise. Believe it or not, that's the sun behind that cloud. We'll see if it burns through right there. Yeah, snow. Yeah, snow's not for everybody. That's why different strokes for different folks. That's why I like taking vacations. In the wintertime, we're going to take a Texas trip later this month with my dad. And nice. Get down to Houston. I want to go to Galveston, the actual Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to go visit the Gulf of Mexico in Texas. You know, if you would have renamed it the Gulf of Texas, I might call it the Gulf of Texas, but the Gulf of America just sounds contrived. And it's like the Indian Ocean, you know. Danville, yeah, I know where Danville's at, yeah. So usually when I meet my dad for to take the trip to Texas, I usually take the Amtrak down to Effingham, which is not near Danville, but down that way, you know, past Champaign. And yeah, it's on the Illinois side, it's on the other side. I grew up in Indiana, so I've been through many times in Lafayette, Danville, Terre Haute, driving through I-74 there. I grew up near I-74. So hey, thanks for tuning in. I've been in Chicago here for 26 years going on. This will be my 27th winter in Chicago. So I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, right? You think I'd get used to it by now? Yeah, toxic Chicago Toxic Donut. Thanks for the good information there. Yeah, thanks for being on. Let's see here. Yeah, we saw the Fire Cakes donut truck. Saw that. A lot of donut references. The donut hole. I'm afraid of when I sign up for Social Security, I'll fall through the donut hole there. I'm not that old yet. So, hey, what else is going on here? Flowers. Thanks for sending flowers here to Valerie. So, now we're back on cleared sidewalk. Okay, good. Yeah, it's cold. So I'm just gonna go to the grocery store. I'm bundled up here, you know. I'm how you doing here? We're gonna get above freezing today. This will be heat wave. We'll go out at lunchtime. I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll figure out something to do. Maybe we'll just go to. I'll figure out something to do. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago. This is the theater by the lake. So we were at Fullerton. We were just at Lake Michigan. There's the sun. There's the sun rising through the clouds here. Let's see if we can get it. There's your sunrise, right where that guy walked there. That's your sun burning through the clouds for December the 9th, 2025. Tuesday in Chicago, 7:15 in the a.m. We got about 27 degrees. There is some wind. And I'm going to head back. We'll go down Webster. And we'll head into Lincoln Park. Here's the artist Renee Robbins here. It's called A Kaleidoscope of Hidden Worlds. This artwork underneath the overpass for Lakeshore Drive. It's on both sides of the street here. And the protozoa, little animals and flowers, algae, whatever this is, plankton. I like it. There's some of Lincoln Park. That's Lincoln Park West, and that's over to Fullerton. We're on Fullerton here. This is near where I live. We filmed some of the sled riding hill, which is over by north end of the North Pond there. Yeah, you missed the snow. Halifax, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Nova Scotia, yeah, very nice. The Maritimes of Canada, very nice. So here at the Sable Lakeshore Drive, there's a few ducks flying south there. I think the light's about to change, so we'll let these people blow through the intersection here. This is traffic's moving fine on Lakeshore Drive, Chicago, Illinois. We'll go by Diversity Harbor. All the boats out. I don't see anybody ice fishing. Here, we'll wait for this Rivian. There's a Rivian driving around. Electric vehicle there. Is O'Hare easy to park and navigate? Yes, if you got money. Everything for a price. I don't have a car, so I don't park anything at Midway or O'Hare, but I take the blue line there. Yes, there's plenty of parking. There's long-term parking lots, short-term parking lots. None of them are cheap. I don't know if I would call O'Hare Airport easy to navigate. It's easy for me to navigate, but I've been using it, again, for 3 decades almost. Some portions of O'Hare Airport are under construction. It was interesting during the Biden administration. There was a whole wing that was used to house migrants that they were camped out there, and they wouldn't let. It was funny. Like sometimes people would get lost and they would stumble upon that wing, and they were like, "What are all these people camped out at the airport?" You know, and it was like shocking. You know, but that's gone. That's long gone, of course. And does anybody remember that when I think terminal? That's the one they're renovating now. Yeah, so then before they renovated it, they were using it for migrant housing temporarily. But yeah, O'Hare Airport. But they're adding many gates to O'Hare Airport. They're actually going to build a new terminal with a new tunnel. You know that tunnel you go to United? There's going to be another tunnel that goes to an island terminal with a bunch of new gates. So O'Hare Airport's getting bigger. And Atlanta Hartsfield has expanded, so now Atlanta is the largest. O'Hare might leapfrog back eventually and be larger than Atlanta again, as it was before Atlanta expanded their gates. And of course, people remember, I'm sure you've ridden the subway in Atlanta going from one terminal to the other, trying to transfer on your Delta flight or other airline. Man, don't fly solo. Yeah, we got Blues Brothers stuff. We talk about the underneath the lower whacker, underneath the L trains. Yeah, we went to the Blues Brothers Bridge at 95th. That's where they drove the Blues Brothers over the Basque Bridge, the drawbridge. We went to the Calumet Fisheries is there. We went to the Blues Brothers Church on 91st Street. That's where James Brown said, "Do you see the light?" And Jake got the spirit there and wanted to get the band back there. That church is still there. We talked to some of the parishioners, and they said, "Come back next Sunday for services." I said, "Okay." There's the sun. So there's your sunrise. Oh, God, that bus is in the way. There's your sunrise for Chicago. We got 7:19 in the a.m. and we got December the 9th, 2025. There's your sunrise. Yeah. Oh, I missed the light because I was filming the sunrise. Oh, it's okay. Let's go over here and film the sunrise. No, I have a day job. I work for an architecture engineering firm. This is my tour. You're watching the tour right now. I do my tour live streaming. I appreciate that people want me to do tours in person. There's so many other, I'll resort to that if I lose my day job or somebody pays me $100,000 to do it. But I don't think that's going to happen. And there's so many other people that offer tours. Not that I couldn't do just as good job or they do it better or I do it better. It's just, this is my tour. I know people want to, they have in their mind, they want to travel to Chicago and hang out with me. That's fine. You can do that. You can do that for free without paying any money. You see where I'm live streaming here. I'm at Cannon in Fullerton. There's nothing stopping you or anybody else, because this has happened in the past. Find me when I'm live streaming. Just walk along with me. I'll give you a tour. We'll become friends. We'll exchange business cards. You don't have to pay me any money. I don't have to feel like a cheap gigolo, and not that sometimes capitalism makes me feel like I'm being used, because it's like everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. Insurance companies say we all have a price. Can you believe insurance companies used to be called casualty companies? And they would calculate the cost of a human life over time. And that's pretty much what the hospitals think of us. No, I shouldn't say the hospitals. The hospitals are great. Doctors and nurses are great. They'll save your lives. And first responders. I'm talking about the people that make money off the insurance industry for healthcare. They think of us as commodities. They're milking us like cows. But we know what's going on. Look at the scooter. You want to get this scooter stuck in the snow? Yeah, the Alfred Caldwell Lily Pool is closed for the season. Hopefully it'll be open all next summer, because I missed the Caldwell Lily Pool. They finally opened it at the end of this summer. We got some reruns of it from this year, but I'm looking forward to having a nice long season, because I live near here and I just walk down to the Lily Pool and hang out. It's great. Aisha, how you doing there? Calm down. No, this is who I am. Why do people always try to force me into whatever they want me to be? This is who I am. I'm a high-strung person. If I freak you out, I'm really not worked up. This is people that know me. Talk to people I work with. This is how I am. I'm pretty much in your face, high-strung, always, bouncing around topics in my mind. And people assume that I'm like angry rabbit. Like, no, this is just my high-strung, the happy hippie persona that I play on TikTok is a character. I would like to be that person. I would like to be the calm hippie that doesn't get riled and just like, hey man, look at that bug there. Yeah, that's cool. Positive, negatives, everything. But I'm an emotional man that gets riled up and experiences emotion, anger. The worst thing for a man to be is an emotional man. Men don't respect it. Women don't respect an emotional man. They want a man to be stoic, control of his emotions at all time. Hard. You got to be hard. You can't ever let them get to you. And I reject that. I live in the moment. I feel my emotions, express them. I'm not trying to be Machiavellian. Smile. If I don't like you, you'll know it. I'm not going to smile at your face and cut you down behind your back, I'll tell it to your face. And I respect people that tell me to the face, even people in the comments that I don't agree with. You know, we might block you, but at least, you know, I understand that they don't agree with my opinion. That doesn't surprise me. But hey, let's head down. Let's head down by the conservatory here. So welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Lincoln Park. We're by Cannon Drive, and we're south of the North Pond. This is where we always walk because I usually start in my lives on my way to work, but I'm going to work from home today. I'm just going to go to the grocery store over by Lincoln, over by Oz Park, and we'll walk by the conservatory here. So we'll be on later today. If it's raining in the evening, I might skip the evening live tonight. I just bought a new gimbal, and I don't want to damage my new equipment here. And so we've been doing enough streaming in the cold weather. Last thing I need to do is to get my new gimbal wet just by trying to walk in the rain. So I'll send messages this afternoon if it is raining by 5 p.m. tonight. We might skip tonight's live stream, but I'll as much as possible do a lunch walk so you can watch the rerun. That's the good thing about YouTube. If you're looking for me, and if there's bad weather, or if I miss a live stream, there's 1,700 videos on YouTube. I'm sure there's one you haven't seen and something that'll interest you, and it's free to watch, and there's nothing stopping you from. I don't want to hear any complaints like, oh, I was looking for you and you weren't, so I blocked you because you weren't live streaming. I'm like, why don't you watch a rerun? People want to manipulate me into walking when it's convenient for them. I understand, and we all do it. You know, it's the human nature. We all try to work people subconsciously because other people work us. Everybody's selling something. Most people are confused because they're like, what are you selling? When I'm like, I'm really not selling anything. They're like, well, you're an idiot. You should be selling something. You should be monetizing this. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But, you know, then it leads to a whole other set of problems. Like relying on TikTok for your income stream, and then TikTok bans you. That's a bad business model because they got all the control. But hey, here's the conservatory we got. Maybe we'll go to the conservatory again. We went to the conservatory. See, I am fortunate that there's a bunch of greenhouses in the zoo. There's a conservatory where you can go inside, tropical plants, and they got the nice poinsettias there for this fireside winter flower show. Look at the beautiful skyline here. This is Chicago. This is we're at, see, that's the Belden Stratford, Belden and Lincoln Park West. This is Stockton where this bus went by. This is north of the Lincoln Park Zoo, and there's the Lincoln Park Conservatory Fireside Winter Flower Show. We already saw it. There's a rerun on it. That's this building. They got a bunch of poinsettias in the show house. And here's the lawn here. We're just going to walk under this tunnel. Hey, there's the dog rolling in the snow, yeah. But look at the beautiful skyline here. Look, you can see that's the Sears Tower, and that's the John Hancock. You can call it the Willis, I call it the Sears. And there's the whole skyline of Chicago from the north side, looking south. We're just south of Fullerton here by the Lincoln Park Zoo. And that sun's gonna rise right over there, yeah. Yeah, the Cubs are north side, Sox are south side, you got it. Yeah, we go to both. There's the Belden Stratford. This is a beautiful building. Yeah, let's walk down Belden here. Yeah, we got some snow here. Have a good day there. Alona, how you doing there? The rain, yeah, tweaker tube. Snow. Yeah, Christmas is on its way. So far we're having a white beginning to December. We'll see if it lasts through the end here, but I'll be here this week and next week, and then the following weekend we'll get out of Dodge. We'll start heading south, weather permitting. We'll have to keep an eye on the weather. My goal is, hopefully we'll stop in Hot Springs, Arkansas on our way to Texas. I've been there before. It's been a few years. Hot Springs has some beautiful architecture I think you'll appreciate. If you've never been there before, you might not realize the quality of the architecture, the old bathhouses there. It's probably some of the most significant architecture in Arkansas. No offense to Little Rock. Or Eureka Springs up in the Ozarks is a really interesting town, but that's hard to get to. You have to really wind around. Has anybody been to Eureka Springs in Arkansas? That's a beautiful town, kind of an artist, bohemian town. Something you wouldn't expect in Arkansas. You know, to me, it's much better than Branson. No offense. I mean, Branson's in Missouri. And I have never been to Branson. I think when I was a little kid, we went to the Lake of the Ozarks, but I don't remember it. And it was all before it was developed. Lake of the Ozarks in the 70s was a lot different than it is now. Here's they just made that lake by then. Here's Lincoln Park. So we just crossed Lincoln Park West. This is Belden Street. Head right through the housing here. Yeah, it was William Shakespeare. We went past the Billy Shakespeare statue. Usually pointed out. We go by it so often that I forgot to even mention it. Yeah, that was the William Shakespeare statue near the Belden Stratford, where Belden meets Lincoln Park West. The street here, we'll spin around here. Hey, the snow looks nice. We got a little wind. We got about 27 degrees. There's the Belden Stratford there, built in 1921. It's on the National Historic Register. There's a nice building here too. Yeah, nice doors. Yeah, thanks for hitting the like button there. Thanks, Zelda. Thanks for reminding people this. You got these little courtyard apartment buildings here, Belden. Nice apartment buildings here, really close to the park. Arkansas is called California. Or a lot of people from California moving to Arkansas. I know a lot of people from California moved to Texas. A lot of people from California moved to Florida. You know, it's just people are free to move around the country. A lot of people from California moved to Arizona and Las Vegas. But Las Vegas is having problems now. The tourism's down. Imagine that. That's not making America great again. Oh, did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. We're all responsible for our own actions unless you're the president. And then you get to blame Biden for anything that's bad. Isn't that great? The buck stops with Biden, even if someone else is president. That's a joke. That's a joke. I'm trying to make levity of our current situation. Thanks for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Belden Street. Oh, I saw they gave the president an award. FIFA gave president a peace prize, and he was all happy. See, and you know, I know I can make fun of liberals. I can make fun of myself. Liberals we're assholes. I know. I'm an asshole. I admit it, and proud to be. And you know, Jimmy Kimmel was laughing about it too. He was like, you know, everybody faulted liberals for everybody gets an award and everybody gets to feel like they get a prize. Well, they got to do that with the president. You got to stroke his ego, so he has to get a prize even when he doesn't really need one. Because FIFA doesn't want to piss off the president because they're really nervous about what's going to happen this year when America hosts the World Cup with Mexico and Canada. And it'd be interesting if there's ICE deportations going on in the background. It's like split screen with the World Cup and what the world would think of that, you know. And I know the MAGA doesn't care what the rest of the world thinks about what we do in America, but it does affect places like Las Vegas, where tourism relies on a lot of international tourism from Canada. And look at San Antonio. San Antonio tourism's down because, you know, they get tourism from Mexico. Here's this is Clark Street in Belden here. William Sumner Frost. William Sumner Frost is the architect. This is called the Cobden Building. Look at that beautiful. Let's get closer to that building. Yeah, let's cross the street here. Let's film the Cobden here. This beautiful. And every once in a while, you see that nice Christmas tree people live on. They wave to me. They watch me on TikTok and YouTube. Friends and neighbors live in this building. This is an apartment building. This was always an apartment building. It goes back to the 1890s. It's called the Cobden Building. William Sumner Frost is the architect. And he worked for a firm called Cobb. I think it was his name, the architect. And he designed other buildings too, like the Cobb. They designed the Historical Society, where it used to be Excalibur, now it's Tau on Dearborn Street. But here's the Cobden Building, Lincoln Park, Chicago, Belden and Clark Street. Look at those windows. Look at that detail. I mean, you know, I'm just so happy this building exists. Look at the terracotta with all these terracotta pieces. This is Belden Street. Yeah, look at those beautiful porches here. This is all part of the Mid-North Historic District here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Thanks for tuning in here. Panda Express, yeah, we're all addicted. Why does food taste so good? As Homer Simpson said. Hey, the pretty snow on Belden Street here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. We got 7:33 in the a.m. I'll go do I got to pick up some quick groceries. Then we'll head to work. See, they got the courtyards here. Courtyard apartment buildings. Look at this detail under the door, architectural details. 438 Belden. See, those are single family residential. And this house here, so we always talk about the Ann Halstead row houses on Lincoln Park West, further south here. This is Ann Halstead's residence. This building was designed by Louis Sullivan. It was very early in his career, just like the other ones, the Ann Halstead row houses. But you see the very stripped down Louis Sullivan ornamentation. He was trying to get away from the European Renaissance revival and create his own, but this was early in his career, so it's very subtle. You can't even tell it's a Louis Sullivan building, but this is Ann Halstead's. I don't know where her husband was at in the whole thing. I think she was widowed and she ran the estate after that and ran those. But she's not the reason Halstead's named Halstead. Jennifer You Should Eat knows more about that. I think it was some New York investors. They're standing in the window. There's Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland. And usually we walk down Cleveland Street when we walk to work here. Here, look at the nice, beautiful facades here. You got the garland and the bows. And Cleveland Street's incidentally the name of the street, and that the real guy that wrote the real Christmas Story that grew up in Hammond, Indiana, but they used Cleveland in the movie, and they called it Homan Street because there's a Homan Street in Hammond where the commercial strip is. It's called Homan, but it was really Cleveland Street. There's a Cleveland Street in Hammond, and it just so happens that they filmed a lot of the scenes for that movie in Cleveland, and the original Christmas Story house that you can visit is in Cleveland. It's just south of the downtown there near the Cuyahoga River. So the Christmas Story house is in Cleveland, even though it was set in the Chicago, Indiana suburbs. And that's why they got so much snow, to get all that lake effect snow. Here we're in Chicago. We'll head over to Geneva Terrace, which becomes Larrabee. This is Belden. Hey, we caught the sunrise, barely. We did see the sun kind of burn through those clouds. Went to the lake. I'm headed to the grocery store, and then we're going to go to work here. So thanks for tuning in here. 200 people watching. That's good. Thanks for checking at YouTube here on a Tuesday morning at 7:36 in the a.m. About 27 degrees. It's supposed to rain later today. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, snow job. Be a snowman. Do you want to build a snowman? Hey, look at this beautiful housing. Yeah, look at this. Just the details, you know, like the little doors and the bars over the windows and the arches. And yeah, look at that. 529. That's a really nice building across the way. The Richardsonian Romanesque, the rough hewn stone. The nice double porch there. Yeah, Better Homes and Gardens there. 535 West Belden. Beautiful Italian 8. Look at that Richardsonian Romanesque there. See, that's two townhomes. They share a wall, that porch. You can go one way or go the other. And even though it looks like one big building, it's actually two. Yeah, look at these set back here. This is a nice building too. I think this has like musical stuff in it. I think, oh, this actually has a name. Okay, this has a name here. I like when they name the buildings. But here, Belden Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Here, Alton. This is the Alton building. 549. Look at that stained glass here, Alton. There's Alton, Illinois. Has anybody been to Alton, Illinois? It's on the Mississippi. It's over by St. Louis, north of East St. Louis. The beautiful bluffs, Mississippi River. The Pisgah birds over there. There's a bird that goes back to the old Cahokia Mounds. the Mississippian culture. There's Santa. There's a big inflatable Santa. Yeah, we'll head over. Let's go over to Lincoln. We'll head over to Lincoln, and then we'll go down Dawes Park there. Detroit has parking? Yeah, of course. Plenty of parking. Thanks for tuning in from Detroit. You ever watch Anna Robb there? Yeah. There's a lot of few Detroit live streamers. Haunted house. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago. This is Belden Street. See where that used to be a church, now that's housing. So this is Geneva Terrace becomes Larby. This is Belden. We're a block south of Fullerton here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Where you at? Where you at? Show your face. Show your cards. But I'll be walking for about another 5 minutes here. We're gonna head down Lincoln, and then I'm gonna do some grocery shopping, and then we're gonna go to work. So we'll be on later today. We'll be on noon to 1. Please subscribe, hit the like button there if you like this content. Helps other people find this content. Posted some reruns to TikTok and YouTube there. But here, look at this beautiful house. Look at that. Looks nice in the snow. Yeah, they got some Christmas lights there. See, they're pulling out the spot here, dibs. I'm trying to park. Yeah, look at we got the lights on. So if it's raining tonight, we'll skip tonight and we'll look for Christmas decorations later in the week. But it'll be a game time decision, so look for the message there on YouTube and TikTok, and I'll let you know. But we should be able to do the lunchtime stream, no problem. And that's why I did one this morning when I really didn't need to. I'm not really, there's no really, I try to have a purpose. The purpose for this walk, besides talking to all you beautiful people and hit my normal time slot, is I'm going to the grocery store. So it's not just like I'm walking around. I just went a really long way to go to the grocery store is all it is. It serves a purpose. Man, you get to hear my wonderful voice wake you up in the morning. Yeah, thanks for tuning in here. Like, no, England, how you doing there? Yeah. Yeah, the West Side. Thanks for tuning in to the West Side. Appreciate it. People are always like, get out of the North Side, you damn North Sider. I said, I know. I can make fun of myself. Good for nothing, North Sider. Who needs you? I'm glad we got the South and West Side. Keep Chicago real. Here's, yeah, this is the Bad Apple here. They used to be the barleycorns, but here we've got the 6 one. So, I think Tara and other people, there was somebody that saw a doppelganger for Jeremy Allen White. I don't think it was Jeremy Allen White, but he was eating an Italian sub, and I think he was at Gianni's. I think he was right there. And that's where, if you see that video of Jeremy Allen White, that's where he was at. So here we'll cross the street here. Now we'll go down this way. We'll go right down Lincoln. What am I saying here? There's a nice mural here. Solway Coffee, Halligan's Bars there, the Hook and Ladder. This is Lincoln, 6-way, Belden, Lincoln, and Orchard. Here, lunch heroes. Be a lunch hero. Here's the Hook and Ladder. Look at that beautiful building here. Look, they got the bar. You could sit right out here. This is not Brando's. This is a bra. Sunrise Coffee. This is nice. You could sit right here. Look how they got a grate here. So you're like, let me out of the cage. I'm sitting here in the bar right on the street. This is some interesting. They added this. They just added this recently. I'm surprised they did it in the wintertime. And look, they got a QR code on the table there, so I guess you can just scan the menu there. A Brom. There's Brando's. Remember we saw Ed Ray, and Ed Ray gave us a tour of this. There's a speakeasy. I need to go back and see if they got the speakeasy. There's a karaoke bar. Brando's right here on Lincoln here. Here's the Dime and Potbelly. There's a lot of the Paul bars here on Lincoln here. See the Greenhouse Theater. A Picasso, Frog, Toad, and showed everybody here. They got a bunch of plays. Dracula, Frog and Toad. Hanukkah Shmonica. Second City Church. Yeah, they were having church services there. I don't know if they still have church service there on Sunday or not. Yeah, we've even gone to the east side. Yeah, we've gone to 91st and Commercial. We've gone to the 95th Calumet Fisheries. That's the east side. It's really near Indiana. And we went to where they got the big ore walls there in that park, where you can climb on the ore walls from the old steel plant. And they're talking about building some new stuff there. But we went to Pullman. Pullman's on the south side. The east side's further east. It's near the lake there. True east side of Chicago, southeast. But we're on the north side here. We're in Lincoln Park. I'm about to head to the grocery store. Thanks for tuning, everybody. Thanks to the mods and everybody. I hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll keep you posted. We'll see what the rain does. We'll try to get that lunch walk in from noon to 1. And then I'll send messages about if we're going to do the evening or not. If we miss it, please check out the reruns. We got 1,700 reruns on YouTube alone. We got 3,500 reruns on TikTok. I'm sure there's some video you haven't seen that'll interest you. Appreciate your attention and time and everybody's comment. If I missed your comment, thanks. We'll get it next time. And thanks for the gifts, likes, and follows. Thanks to my mod team. Thanks for checking out the sunrise. Stay warm. There's the top of the John Hancock. We'll get you to the Tin Man. I'll show you the Tin Man. We'll end it at the Tin Man. I'll zoom in from across the street. And Oz Park, we filmed it many times. We got reruns of the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, and Dorothy there. I saw Wicked was snubbed for the musical, but I think the best actress, she's still in the nomination there, and a few other things, which is interesting here. Hey, you go to Orange Julius. Here's this restaurant. There's a nice, is that restaurant still open? I'm trying to film this restaurant and I don't see, I don't see it there. People keep thinking I'm looking at their car when I'm looking at the restaurant open. Yeah, there's a nice, there it is, Bacino's. The Bacino's Pizza's right there. There's Bacino's there. Yeah, good. So, there's the Tin Man. Let's get across the street here. There's the Tin Man, Oz Park. I'll zoom in once we get to the corner here. We'll get you a nice view. So here we're at Geneva Terrace, which becomes Larby South. Geneva Terrace, Geneva Terrace is north. And this is Lincoln, Webster. There's the Tin Man. Look, the Tin Man's got some snow on his head. There's the Tin Man in Oz Park. So hey, the Tin Man says have a good Tuesday there. Thanks everybody. Oz Park. Make the most of it. Seize the day. Thanks everybody. We'll see you later at lunchtime here. Happy Tuesday, December the 9th, 2025 from Chicago, Illinois, Oz Park. 27 degrees, 7:46 a.m. Have a great day. Appreciate it. And we'll catch you later on the funny papers here. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.